Hey everybody, when it comes to the hazmat response, speed and accuracy are everything.
Right, speed and power, baby.
Well, speed and power, that's a Clarkston Farm thing, but speed and accuracy, well, that's a 908 thing.
Yes, you know it. It's a little black box, and if you will, now a little red box as well.
Yes, it is, and that's why hazmat teams all around the world are trusting 908 devices. Their handheld MX908 and Explorer IR are changing the game.
The MX908, remember, guys, is the one that of the few devices out there that can identify the Novichoks.
And not just Novichoks, it is going to detect all sorts of chemical warfare agents, pharmaceutical-based agents, drugs, and explosives. And here's the key, it does it all at trace levels.
Right, and that's, I know that the Explorer IR and can actually quantify over, did I say quantify?
Yeah, you said quantify. Quantify.
I want to make sure I got that because that's an important word. 5,000 gases and vapors in seconds, and that is changing the game.
Yeah, no joke. That's why I said hazmat teams all over the world are trusting 908 devices. Don't believe me? Check them out, 908devices.com. Upgrade your metering toolbox today. Hello, hello, hello. Let us be the first, if you have no friends, family, or loved ones, to say Happy New Year.
Yes, yes. Happy New Year. Many things, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode, is things that are happening around the world.
Starting off with a bang.
Yeah, so but before we get into that, check out Hazard Class Podcast with our very own Jake Ricks. It is... Honestly, I just looked at the stats. He's big in Ireland right now.
Is he really?
He's like the 70th rated podcast in Ireland right now.
Did he have an Irish guest on? Like,
why?
I mean, I love him, but why Ireland?
I don't know. I have no idea. We're doing all right, but he's popping up in weird places like Sri Lanka and stuff like that. So whatever.
Good for him.
Going great. Yeah.
Speaking of weird countries, I got a Facebook message with somebody from the Philippines, like reaching out saying thank you for the show. They got tons of responders. They listen. I was like, okay, that's great. Awesome. I don't know, could have just been a spam. I didn't click on the link that he sent.
We also have a couple of the shows in the work, but the Industrial Strength show is out. I think they just released a third episode. Excellent. Go check it out, especially if you're in the industrial side, guys. But, good stuff. Happy hour.
It is a good show. Not Sunday. Now everybody's going to go. Nobody will ever listen until I mess that up, and then they're going to go on Sundays. No, it is the fourth Thursday of every month for our premium members. Join us for the happy hour, which is just really a time to sit around and really just kind of BS about hazmat stuff. We ask each other questions, honest answers. Nothing's recorded. Nothing ever leaves the happy hour. So it's a really good time. And if you come on, you have a chance to win the scholarship to the Southernmost Hazmat Conference, which we are hosting in February of 2026, almost a year away.
And there's tons of stuff going on in the store. Check out the Nerd 2, which is selling like crazy. Thank you for everybody. And, we're moving along. The grand cycle is cycling, and there'll be another round soon.
One's closed, the others are opening, so we're looking forward to that. If you're in a department that needs training but doesn't have funding, reach out to us. See if you can qualify for one of the grants. We have some in-house grant writers, and we're trying to help everybody get the training that they need, deserve, and desire.
All right, well, then let's get into the topic of the day, the topical topic, which is
a busy year. So busy year. So in this, we want to kind of talk about, now I will say when I first got into Hazmat 1, Bob was already in squad when I came on, but you would go into the rig, and now I came in 2004, 2005, and there was a big sign in the rig that said secondary devices. And that was there for the resource guy to keep an open mind, because in Hazmat 1, our resource guy was the big picture guy, right? We kind of talk about people having different jobs. The resource was the big picture guy. So he or she would kind of do the walk around the big picture. And I think over the course of 20 years, most of the country has kind of not turned away, but it's lost its edge when it's come to the terrorism, the attacks, the things that happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, over a course of one night, multiple things are happening across the country. Some of them we don't even know yet if they're related. Some of them are just happening. Is this a small single group? Is this multiples? Is this coordinated? But we want to kind of touch on a couple things just to bring back this idea as first responders of what we may be facing and what we could be walking into. So, in we want to hit the specific concerns for first responders. We'll talk about the hazards for the hazardous materials technicians going in, and really just a comprehensive overview of the recent events. Really, again, focusing on the hazards and the potential links between the attacks.
Yeah, so we'll start with, and again, we're recording this as of January 2nd. So
Yes.
like this just happened, and we're talking about the New Orleans.
And
vehicle.
we're not using any official use only material. Everything that we're talking about has been published publicly. So just to kind of make that clear, because quite often, what you get in the newspapers isn't always the reality, and reality comes out later. So I'm sure we're going to be learning plenty as we go along.
Now, maybe you listened to this recently or maybe years in advance, but what happened was a pickup truck was driven by Samsud-Din Jabbar, a 42-year-old U.S. Army veteran, and he rammed into a crowd on Bourbon Street at approximately 3:15 a.m. Why is everybody up at 3:15? I would have been asleep 7 or 8 hours.
You would think like a name like Bourbon Street, they'd be knocked out cold.
I don't know. But he had a complex background that may have contributed to his alleged actions, and here is an overview of the history and potential political agenda.
This part kind of blew my mind, right? The fact that he was a U.S. Army veteran, he served from 2007 to 2022. In that time frame, he was deployed to Afghanistan from February 09 to January of 10. His roles included human resource specialist and IT within the military. Jabbar was believed to have been honorably discharged, and he led a relatively professional life.
Right. And after his military service, Jabbar worked as an IT specialist and property manager, earned a bachelor's degree in computer systems from Georgia State University in 2017. And he was employed by Deloitte, which is a consulting firm. And he was a consultant earning about $10,000 monthly, which is a number.
Yeah, not too bad. And he was not born in a country that you would think when we contemplate terrorism attacks. He was born right here not right here in, like, I'm in New York right now, but right here in the United States. And it was Texas, Beaumont, Texas. He was twice married, and he experienced some financial difficulties. In 2022, he reported $27,000 in the arrears on his mortgage, and had accrued approximately $16,000 in credit card debt. Did any of that have to do with what happened? We don't know yet, so we might as well put some stuff in the profile.
Right. So again, why you might be asking yourself, why are you going through this? Because we're building a story here. Just give us a second. But the one of the things that was a big part where all the news agencies were losing, the hair was on fire, is that there was reportedly a ISIS flag found in Jabbar's vehicle, suggesting a possible tie to a terrorist organization. Now, President Biden stated that Jabbar had shared videos online indicating he was inspired by ISIS. At the time of this recording, there is nothing directly linking like ISIS said, do this. He was inspired by it. The FBI is investigating Jabbar's potential connections to terrorist organizations, and authorities are reviewing disturbing videos where Jabbar allegedly threatened to kill his family and discussed joining ISIS.
So what did he actually do? Jabbar allegedly drove a pickup truck into a crowded streets on New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street, absolutely packed at about 3:15 in the morning, January 1st, 2025. 15 fatalities and dozens injured. Now, this is, the idea of using a vehicle is nothing new, right? We've seen this a couple times in New York City. We know it was talked about in the Inspire magazine when the Inspire magazine was super popular. So this is an old technique, and it's very successful. Clearly, 15 people and dozens injured. There were multiple improvised explosive devices that were found in the vehicle and throughout the French Quarter. That is insanely scary for us, right? Like as a first responder, that's what we're going. We don't often think about car accidents as, my first thought, I think most first responders would have, especially in some place like New Orleans, New York, totally different story. DC, totally different story, right? We're just kind of training and thinking differently. But you're down in New Orleans. I'm thinking drunk guy made a wrong turn, hit the gas instead of the brake, slammed into a couple people. I'm probably getting off of the rig in bunker pants and my shirt open to go get medical aid. That's what I'm thinking. Yet I would be walking up to a truck with improvised explosive devices in it. Absolutely not something that first responders really think of. Jabbar was killed in a shootout with the police following the attack.
Right. And now the FBI is currently treating this as an act of terrorism. There was debate about that, but because of the extent of the political agenda remains unclear, the presence of the flag, right, suggests maybe a possible alignment with an extremist ideology, and the investigation is ongoing as authorities are uncovering more details about his motivations and potential collaborators. You know what I hate?
Decon?
No, I hate my face burning off.
Oh, why? What the hell happened?
From radiation, or actually not knowing about radiation being present.
Well, that's a really good point. And you're lucky we've been playing with some of these new meters from Mirion. They are absolutely top shelf devices.
I'm going to bet a bunch of you listening and seeing don't know who Mirion is, and neither did we until we started talking to them. And wow, there is more than meets the eye with these guys.
Yeah, and we just recently found out they are a multi-billion, that's billion with a B, dollar company. Again, had no idea they even existed until they reached out. But they have sectors deep within the medical, nuclear, and the safety defense arenas of our country and around the world.
For first responders, they got some really cool tech like the AccuRad, the Spear Ace, the Spear View that helps detect and monitor radiation quickly and accurately. So we can make some smart decisions on the fly.
Check them out, Mirion.com. That's Mirion.com. And he was relatively successful. I mean, 15 people is not a tiny amount out there in the French Quarter. Could have been a lot worse? Sure, absolutely. Highlighting some of the hazards that were encountered, right? Us as first responders were walking in there. What kinds of things should we, from this point forward, always be thinking about, right? We had these when we were being trained, there were a few always, right? If there's an explosion, always consider radiation. We need to think about improvised explosive devices. Not just could this car blow up, but multiple IEDs. And there have been times in the past where people have used something like a car accident to lure first responders and other people into a close area and then detonating it. We actually saw, I believe it was the English subway bombings, where they detonated a bomb away from the stairs to herd everybody towards the stairs and then detonated another bomb at the stairs to get as many people as possible. So we should always be thinking of IED, improvised explosive devices. Got to have your head on a swivel. Are we going to be able to see them all? Certainly not. Firearms, something that is definitely become part of our vernacular in first responders, the active shooter type of things. We need to be thinking about this stuff as we come in. Both a handgun and an AR style rifle were recovered at the scene. With that comes all of the other potential terrorism stuff. Your chemical, your biological, the things that could be attached to this incident land within that CBRNE threat world.
Right. And now, is this a lone wolf or is it not? And actually, as of this recording, maybe about 30 minutes ago, I was saw it on the news, is that they didn't believe, they thought he was acting with multiple people, and now they believe that he's acting alone.
Okay.
But when you're pulling up on the scene, you don't know that. and you don't know who in the crowd is the partiers or his accomplices. And so, I would be coming off the rig looking at everybody suspiciously. Like, absolutely. Even the guys in my company, I'd be like, like, he owes me money. I think he might be in on this thing. So, good.
For all intent, he's an American.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be no different than anybody else down there partying, but wearing the exact same clothes, doing. And could somebody come into this country and absorb the culture enough to not stand out? Yes, absolutely. But that was always something we kind of like looked for, right? Like, hey, does somebody seem a little bit odd? Do they look like culturally they don't fit in? He would have fit in perfectly. In fact, if he was wearing any kind of military garb, you would instantly check him off the list as somebody being safe.
Legit. And so he was wearing full body armor. So he was a professional. And there was also surveillance footage showing 3 men and a woman placing explosive devices, or at least allegedly putting them down, in areas. So, like, again, are these ancillaries or secondaries looking to kill people, or are they looking to, like, hurt people, where now you're pulling people out of the mix to go and help them, as opposed to a dead body is a dead body and it's going to be dead in a little bit. If I don't get to help these people, then you're pulling people off and making new problems.
Yeah.
So, what about the next one?
The next one happened in Vegas shortly after, right? You had a Tesla Cybertruck explode outside of the Trump Hotel in Vegas. As of right now, as far as I know, the incident is being investigated as a potential terrorist attack. They don't know exactly why or what. They don't have enough information. It's a potential. Certainly is odd that it's happening within the same time frame as this New Orleans issue. But what do we have with an exploding Tesla truck? Now, could I turn around and be like, yeah, but we've got a little bit of issue here with that, being like this was intentional, because you've got the batteries. Right, that would probably be my first thought. Pulling up as a first responder, I've got a Tesla vehicle on fire. I'll be honest with you, I probably would not even consider a terrorist activity whatsoever. But I believe it turns out that there was some fireworks and explosives actually found within the Tesla truck.
So I'm hearing some munitions.
Yeah, munitions. So that now gives us an explosion hazard, which we already had with the Cybertruck to begin with, the potential for the secondary explosions. And again, like, I would consider radiation to be a top one in any explosion. I think that point has kind of started to fall by the wayside. There was a time that if you went to an explosion, you had your mask on until you proved that there was no radiation in the atmosphere. I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, and there was also actually in the same time frame, Honolulu had an explosion, but there's really limited information about this thing. But there was a deadly explosion that happened there. Now, there are some links and possible safety issues that we can discuss as well. With the Islamic State inspirations, let's say the New Orleans had linked to IS with the group's flag being found at the vehicle. You also should be aware of, like, potential coordinator or copycat attacks. I believe there was an attack in Germany very recently as well, and they're saying that this might have been a copycat of that, or that must have been a copycat of this. But uses of, like, vehicle ramming. It's been a long used part of its modus operandi is to do this vehicle, ramming. And similar attacks have occurred in Nice, Berlin, Stockholm, and New York City. What was that? That was down on the running path down by the...
on the
Chelsea.
west side. Yeah, on the west side. The guy, he plowed a whole bunch of people over. We have to think about the combination of tactics, right? So let's use the vehicle. The vehicle is really, really successful. I mean, it really is kind of a ingenious thought process, because you don't need a lot to prepare. You don't need a lot of money. I can go rent a U-Haul vehicle or a pickup truck from Home Depot, relatively inexpensive. So I don't even have to try to get a loan, have my finances run through the financial matrix that's out there.
Right.
I can take that vehicle and I can combine it with other things like firearms and explosives. So as first responders, we need to be prepared for these threats. As a result, the FBI has warned of an elevated international terrorism threat, especially with all of the Israel-Hamas war nonsense that's going on over there. We have to be very careful as first responders, as people who might be planning, whether you're in the planning phase or you're just in the response phase, they're going to be targeting mass gatherings. That's what they're looking for here. That's the kind of the common thread through all of these, right? Crowded areas, celebration, events. We got to be vigilant, and I don't even know what to say as far as the right way to move in, right? Like, we turn around and we say, oh, watch out for secondary devices. How the hell do we do that? Like, how do we not go in to do our job?
I don't know. And please, if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm from a small town, we don't have this concern. You know, consider that they might pick those small towns and small events like, oh, the Christmas tree lighting or stuff like that. They're like, I live in a town with 2,000 people. Nobody cares about my town. Those are the towns they want to poke in the eye to show how soft it is, how easy it is to do. Don't think it's coming to New York City or just New Orleans or Honolulu. Like, it could be coming to your town. So, like, again, approach your scenes, PPE, detection equipment. If you're on with the hazmat team, come up with your meters, come up with everything. Right? And be aware of the secondary device awareness. If you're, I know we've said it in the past, there was a incident that happened, I want to say in Oklahoma. It was like an abortion clinic where they kept on calling in automatic alarms, and they watched the fire department park in the same spot every time. And then the shift changed, and the guy called it in again and had the secondary device, I think in like a dumpster, right where they parked all the time. And because the next shift came in and it was another driver, he didn't park at the same spot, and it did not work. So, you know, be looking out for those secondary devices or attackers when responding to these terrorists, even if they don't look like it. If somebody, your spidey senses are tingling, and do a vehicle threat assessment. Like, when you're approaching a vehicle-based attack, consider the potential for explosives. The car's running. It could be driving towards or backwards just as quick, all right, or packed with hazmats.
Do you remember Joe Iovino?
Yep.
Yeah, he used to take different routes into Manhattan from Queens, and it didn't matter where the box was. Like, he was completely unpredictable in his path and how, for as long as until he retired, he would take all different routes. If it was in the upper part of Manhattan, he would take the tunnel. If it was in the lower part of Manhattan, he'd take the Triborough Bridge. So things like that can really help us out. Coordinated responses, right? We have to be talking with our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, EMS. We have to come together to create an overall game plan. Your electric vehicle fires have to be considered as part of this hazard. It may not be part of the terrorist attack. It's very possible they're going to use it because it gives an additional bang for the buck. Are you ready for your mass casualty preparedness? And like Bob said, if you're sitting there going, yeah, but I'm in a small town, the Times Square bomber, what was that, 2009-ish time frame?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. He made his bomb in the middle of Connecticut, which means he built it in a small area and he drove it through all of the small towns in Connecticut, got on the major highway that runs to New York City from Connecticut, and drove it all the way there. So any one of those first responders could have come in contact with explosive devices had there been an issue. Situational awareness, guys. Stay informed. Someone in your department should be connected in some way, shape, or form with a terrorism center, FBI, first responders, terrorism stuff. I'll give you a really good hint, because they don't turn around and say, hey, we expect a biological attack to happen in New York City. What they do is they turn around and they go, hey guys, how about you start training on biologicals? Like, I don't know, that's a good idea. Why don't we start training? Might be a good thing. Like, I don't know, I just randomly selecting training on biologicals this month. How about we focus on that? If you have training that's coming down like that, take it seriously. There's a really good chance it's not just some grumpy chief pulling shit out of his ass, but there's actually legit reasons why they want you on polishing up with certain responses.
Well, you know what? This is a good segue for this, is that if you have, because if you're listening to this or seeing this, that we've been putting out a news podcast. And thankfully, and you're welcome. We're firing Jack and Jane. They're just oh my god, the new guy's kind of funny.
He's phenomenal.
He's amazing. So we are putting a little bit more effort after these attacks and stuff like that to keep everybody in short bite size so you can keep up on what's going on. We have our fingers in every newspaper article inbound, and we're going to put short synopsises in this podcast. And if you want to find out more about it, you'd be like, holy crap, I got to find out more when I get to work. Then look it up. I'm not going to give you the links. I'm just going to give you a summary, a shorty. And we're going to have a whole thing on it. So that'll be jumping off of our channel onto its own channel soon, just to keep everybody apprised of what's going down. Hey, are you ready to train differently? Head to thehazmatguys.com to book your customized training. Pick up your copy of Nerd Volume 2, browse our exclusive swag, get your department added to the grant funding list, and stay updated on all things THMG.